Good evening, and thank you for your cooperation. On behalf of the Tunkhannock School District Administration, I am pleased to see us here in Memorial Stadium to celebrate the class of 2020, a class and a year like no other. I look forward to hearing about the remarkable things this resilient group of young people will accomplish in the years to come. Special recognition goes to class advisor Angie Burke and her steering committee for navigating this class through these past months. Special thanks also to the superintendent and the school board for approving this event. A personal note of gratitude to Brittany Wood, Colleen L., Sherry Gregory, and Jan Sechek for their extraordinary efforts in helping to pull together the logistics of these three ceremonies, and thank you for your patience with me. Before we begin, I would like to remind all of our seniors and their guests that upon the conclusion of the ceremony, we are asking you to reunite at your vehicles and proceed in your cars to the high school bus platform to collect your diploma and other documents. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we are here to celebrate these seniors, so let's get started. Without further ado, I welcome Jackson Montross to the podium to begin our ceremony.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome families, faculty, colleagues, and the members of the graduating class to the 2020 Tunkhannock Area High School commencement. Today is a day of celebration. My fellow classmates and I have accomplished so much, and we have dealt with many challenges along the way to reach this important milestone in our lives. We have all made great friends and memories here at Tunkhannock that will last us a lifetime. I can still remember my first day of high school, and I can't believe how fast time has flown by. There are so many great things that we will all remember about high school. From all of our different class field trips, the different clubs, school dances, pep rallies, the band, sports, the student section, our favorite classes and teachers, and the little things such as seeing your friends in the hallway or eating lunch together. High school has been such an incredible ride, and we have made it to the end. I want to congratulate each of my fellow classmates on this accomplishment, and I wish you all the best of luck with your future endeavors. Take pride in how far you have come, and have faith in how far you can go. Great things are in store for all of us. At this time, I would like to welcome Elizabeth DeMarco to the stage, who will be leading us through the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackson. Good evening, all. Before we begin, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize my classmates who are also entering the military. If you are here at this ceremony, please stand to be recognized. Elizabeth DeMarco, Navy ROTC. Cody Ely, Marines. Logan Hutchins, Air Force. Kaylin Smith, the Citadel, and Kyle Stackhouse, Navy ROTC. At this time, please rise if you are able and remove your caps for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem and the Tunkhannock High School alma mater, performed by senior Charisma Fell. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bones bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, in the home of the brave. Nestled by the Susquehanna is our school so grand, with its beauty and its grandeur, finest in the land. Hail to the Tunkhannock High School, proudly we will stand. Ever loyal and devoted, best school in the land.
Thank you. Please be seated.
To the class of 2020, congratulations! Before me, I see exemplary scholars, star athletes, brilliant performers, gifted workers, and everything in between. I have nothing but admiration for all of you. These last 4 years have not exactly been a walk in the park. We have all changed tremendously, we have all grown tremendously, and I do not think that such a unique experience could be found in a different graduating class. In the last 4 years, you've all experienced more development than ever in your lives, and that has not gone unnoticed. Despite the trials and tribulations, we have been strengthened side by side all the same. Today is definitely a day to be proud. We've arrived at such a momentous milestone. But today is also a day to look back and ask, what brought us this far? What made our 4 years so special? The class of 2020's journey has certainly been rare, and I'm not just talking about what knowledge we've acquired here at the high school, but also the other half of our education, the experience. I think it is clear that we got a whole lot more than academic instruction from the classroom. And from red tile to the band room, from the Spanish room to Mrs. Burke's podium, every one of us has received life lessons from a cast of talented people along the way that cannot possibly be replicated. In Mr. Neely's physics class, we learned how to conduct true scientific experimentation. And when you leave a group of high schoolers to their own devices, you'll find out that there's always bound to be a few oversights. But we've realized how to turn our failure into an opportunity for greater success. If you tell Mr. Neely that you measured in feet as opposed to meters, or used the wrong materials in your lab, he will stifle a laugh, look you in the eye, and say, "You win! The chance to start over." Miss Kasparowski and Mr. Lucky in the music department always encourage their students to live by the adage, do what you love and love what you do. They taught us that when you follow your passion, fulfillment comes easy, and it's simply a matter of finding your soul. The dynamic duo also said that we all have a responsibility to be supportive to one another in a musical ensemble and beyond. Mr. Traver taught us more of the same. To always remember that we should either work with people we get along with or get along with the people we work with. And sometimes we don't get to choose which one we get, but we have to make the most of it. In Mrs. Kudish's biology class, she often reminded many of us not to sweat the small stuff. From her, we learned perseverance and that there is always a different way to look at a situation. We might be frustrated with ourselves, but if anything were to come from a challenge, it would be grit. In Miss Harvey's English class, she encouraged us to be confident in our actions. Her class taught us to seek chances to find our voice, to find meaning you normally wouldn't think in things you would normally think twice about. For example, it was in Miss Harvey's classroom where we debated whether a particular quote was from Shakespeare or from Star Wars. And it turned out to be Star Wars, sadly. Many students are familiar with Dr. Good's daily lessons at the beginning of history class, which taught us everything from the importance of confidence and a firm handshake to how to correctly cook steak and spaghetti. He told us to take things as they are and to be level-headed in new situations. In the dominion of the math department, we were motivated to be resourceful and driven to get the job done. Teachers like Mrs. Stackhouse and Mr. Kaiser always showed us how far you can get by being your genuine self. The math department is truly the only place on earth where you can painstakingly derive the Pythagorean theorem while being serenaded by some wicked guitar riffs. Mr. Townsley inspired productivity in the metal shop, telling us that there is always another job to be done or another project to work on. When we are finished with school, we have to keep reminding ourselves that if opportunity doesn't knock, we ought to build a door. Mrs. Sherman promoted us to step outside of our comfort zones and try new activities in her chemistry classes. Even though we may not have had the best reaction to a new situation, she always kept us in an excited state. I am sure most chem students never knew that there were so many folk songs about ions. In psychology and sociology, Mr. Bevan instilled an urge in his students to not only be their best selves, but to also act like it. He encouraged us to be resourceful, that even what seems useless, like copyright information on the back of a quiz, can save your skin. Mrs. Sick and Mr. Montross in the art department encouraged us to trust ourselves and our vision. And even if that means we have to be patient for a while, the results are going to be worth the wait. They affirmed that we should avoid comparison to the growth of others and remain happy with our own. Our fearless leader, Mr. Boscher, told us to be tiger proud, to have satisfaction with the unique place we come from, and know that our home and the people who guided us will grant us the support we need to continue our pursuit of excellence. As he says, we are the high school. It is very clear that we have received the fullest extent of education here, and we owe a lot of appreciation to the people who aided us in our most transformative years. I personally cannot even believe that I made it to this occasion in one piece, as I am sure many of you feel the same way. However, I regret to inform you that our work is not done. Not yet, anyway. This prodigious accomplishment and everyone preceding it have brought us to this moment. It may seem like we've run this race start to finish, but just as this day is an end, it is also a beginning for new success and for new failure, a beginning where we pack up everything that brought us here and keep trekking forward. To be honest, it seems a bit overwhelming, but this is where the fun begins. Just as we have prepared ourselves, we've also been prepared. Prepared to be confident and prepared to be nervous. Prepared to try new things and prepared to struggle. Prepared to chase our ambitions and prepared to feel lost. We have what we need, and now it's time to do something with it. Overwhelming? Without a doubt. It's okay to feel unqualified for such a demanding task. However, I'm confident that each and every one of you are up to the challenge. We could dread it, we could run from it, but destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here, or should I say, we are. Now, class of 2020, go on from here and do spectacular things. To quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. Whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Thank you. Now welcome the president of the class of 2020, Isaac Clark.
Oh, shoot. Aha, I found it. Good evening, everyone. And congratulations to all of you who got on the graduation sign-up like 5 hours early just to get into this session. You missed all of the sun. But no, legitimately, it's exciting to see you all. And I'm extremely grateful to be here and extremely grateful to see this class. I'm going to get right into it. I've been saying that I'm keeping my thank yous private so that way you aren't begging for me to finish before I even begin. But I wrote my speech around a topic that I rarely ever hear about, and that's curiosity. And more so, beyond curiosity, the power of the question why. I mean, honestly, out of all of the motivational quotes that I've ever read, I could not give you one about curiosity until now, until I had to Google it for this speech. But before then, I mean, when was the last time you heard a speech on curiosity? And yet that's kind of funny considering curiosity is the very driving force behind the most intellectual and innovative minds in human history. You know, even Albert Einstein is supposedly quoted as saying, "I have no special talents, I am only passionately curious." And side note, if Albert Einstein has no special talents, that makes me slightly scared for the future. But if one of the brightest minds that we know pins all of his success on the lonely pin of curiosity, then it might be something worth looking at. You see, what's special about curiosity is that it is not exclusive. Curiosity isn't unevenly distributed to the vastly wealthy or the highly intelligent. It's an equal opportunist, and has been an innate part of us since day one. And parents, I'm sure you can attest to this. From the moment we could begin forming sentences, it wasn't long after that we began forming questions about everything. And we would ask questions like, why is the sky blue? Or, Mommy, why are you crying when you're happy? Or, Dad, why do people die? You see, we were so openly fascinated and mesmerized by the world around us and unapologetic and unashamed to ask questions about it. And yet somewhere along the way, we lost most of that wonder. Somewhere along the way, whether it was because we were asking questions that seemed didn't have answers anymore, or we were asking people who we found out didn't have all the answers, but somewhere along the timeline, we lost that same vigor for curiosity, which drove us to constant exploration, both intellectually and physically. Some of us, we traded our curiosity. We traded deeper curiosity for surface level curiosity. We traded the whys for the whats. We traded the whys for the what we could see if we were only looking on the surface with our eyes, rather willing to be immersed with our hands. Have you ever looked for something with your eyes and not your hands? Say your favorite cereal in the morning, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because that should be everyone's favorite cereal, but you're looking through the cupboard in the morning and you're looking for the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You could have sworn it was there yesterday, but now it's not there, and you're like, where's the cereal? And so you call your mom or your dad because they're magicians on the side, because the moment that they come, you already know they move one box and poof, out of nowhere, it's there, whatever you were looking for. But it's not magic, is it? It's because we were looking with our eyes and not our hands. And some of us have done this with curiosity. As we've started asking the simple questions and the surface level questions instead of actually rearranging the cupboard. And what happens is we settle for the surface level. And when we settle for the surface level, we're not going to find what we're looking for. Or more importantly, we're not going to find what we weren't looking for, but maybe what we needed. Besides, the world has enough complacent people, if we're being honest. And the world would love more complacent people, more people who are willing to go with the status quo and ask no questions. But that's never been what the world needed. Now, more than ever, it is in need of a generation who is willing to be marked by innovation. And so whether we're going into the military or trade school or college It doesn't matter as long as we are the class, the generation which is marked by innovation. And we can only be marked by innovation and creativity if we were willing to have the commitment to ask the question, why? And I know that this class has always been one who's been willing to ask questions, but sometimes it gets hard. I know this class has never been one to be marked by complacency, and yet now that we're entering the real world, now that we're entering into this next stage of our life, it's going to get a little trickier. We're going to get a little bit more uncomfortable, and it's going to be really, really, really easy to step back and stay in our box and to not bring any attention to ourselves, but this is not the time. This is the time to be leaning into curiosity, to lean into the question, why? Maybe for some of us, it's why not? Why haven't I started that business that I wanted to? Why haven't I joined that club or started that foundation? Why haven't I talked with these new people? Why haven't I done this or that? This is the time to be taking new risks. This is the time to lean into curiosity. You know, they say that curiosity killed the cat at some point. I don't know. I wasn't there. But what I do know is that curiosity sent man to the moon. What I do know is that the question why gave all Americans the right to vote. It's given us modern day technology and medicine and every breakthrough in various sciences. It ended slavery. It continues to fight prejudice as we speak. It gave this very nation independence years ago. You see, the question why is a powerful question because the question why has taken mankind and sent it into the deepest unknowns and brought back the richest rewards. And now it's our turn, class of 2020. It is your turn. And I have one last question for you. Why wait? Thank you. It is now my honor to call to this stage our very own valedictorian, the one and only Rani Srivastava.
Thank you, Isaac. Good evening, class of 2020. I'm Rani Srivastava, and we went to high school together. Next time we'll all see each other in one place, we'll be at our first high school reunion. I've had the pleasure to get to know and talk to everyone in this class, and I'm so thankful for that. Our class would not be the same without every single one of you. I'd like to start this out with some shout-outs. Thank you to all of our teachers from preschool to our senior year that have touched my life and other students' lives. Thank you for showing us hospitality in your classrooms and helping us enjoy coming to school every day. I'd also like to thank my friends for all the unforgettable memories, Dunkin' runs, and Salval trips associated with Tunkhannock. Finally, I would like to thank my family. Thank you for always pushing me to be successful, even though sometimes I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have. I think that concludes the shout-outs. See you next Thursday for week 9 of Todd Talk. I have always been someone with big goals and aspirations. I've strived for success, and I will continue to do so. Throughout my schooling, I've definitely worked hard to get where I'm standing today. It was difficult to see the positives of all the time and effort I was putting in until it started to pay off. All that perseverance allowed me to enjoy my senior year. I've always had the ability to reach my goals. You can't achieve anything without believing in yourself. Rosalind Yallow stated, "We must believe in ourselves or no one else will believe in us. We must match our aspirations with the competence, courage, and determination to succeed." Rosalind, a medical physicist, created one of America's very first radioisotope labs in a janitor's closet. because she wasn't given much funding. She received the Nobel Prize in 1977. In the 1970s, very few people respected women in STEM fields. However, she had faith in herself, which enabled her success. No matter if it seems all the cards are stacked against you, know you can rise above and succeed. This past year, if you saw me in school, you probably thought I didn't take it too seriously. I was often walking the halls and making the best of all my free time and not focusing on homework or assignments. However, this attitude does not reflect all 13 years of my education here. It was quite the opposite the majority of the time. Growing up, school has always been a huge priority. I was super shy all throughout elementary school. Most of my current high school teachers probably wouldn't even recognize me in a classroom. I would stress out over rocket math because it had to be perfect and I had to complete every sheet, even if it was a brand new set. I'd also stress over spelling tests every week. Looking back, I've realized worrying about these things was pretty pointless. Frankly, I'm not sure if rocket math helped engrave the times tables in my head or not. But I'm sure the spelling test didn't help much because even this year I would have circles all over my bio lab reports and I still drive my mom crazy because I cannot spell to save my life. I can't say I would change a thing though. All throughout middle school I was the same way, pointlessly stressing over tests and quizzes. I wish my younger self could take some advice from me now. When you're about to take these assessments, there's no point in stressing because you know what you know and you're fully prepared. I even needed my parents to buy blueberries the week of PSSAs because they were supposed to make you smarter. You would think someone wouldn't be able to work any harder or be more determined. However, somehow I turned it on even more when we started high school. I was on the less fun version of X Games mode. Everyone said high school was going to be hard, a whole different ballgame, and a slap in the face. I was not going to let that be true. I buckled down even more to the point where I didn't really have any free time, and weekends when I didn't have sports were to mentally recover. I still don't regret a thing. I didn't allow myself to quit sports because I love them. Honestly, practice from 3:30 to 5:30 was the only time when school didn't matter. I remember going to Hazleton for an away volleyball game and feeling the excitement of pulling off a win in the 5th set and wanting to celebrate. However, I knew I had a lot of studying to do later, so I couldn't ride the bus home and stop for dinner with my teammates. I was exhausted when I finally got home at 10:30, but I knew my night wasn't quite over yet. It was time to focus on school again. The game we just played didn't matter anymore. I would study until 1 for my 3 tests and quizzes the next day. I would then wake up extra early in the morning to study before school too. The lack of sleep did not stop me from making time for the things I loved. I joined every club or activity I wanted to. I really have missed being this busy and juggling so many different things. These other commitments made me learn how to prioritize my time while still striving towards my goals. I think I've developed decent time management skills, but most people beg to differ. They usually call it procrastination. Apparently, that's a bad thing. I became accustomed to doing things last minute because I didn't have time to do it ahead of time. It used to stress me out and overwhelm me, but now I've learned to deal with that emotion and numb it most of the time. Not saying I do not stress out anymore, because I certainly do. I just don't let people see it as often as I used to. That's why you may think I didn't prioritize school as much as I did. I learned when I could make time for all my schoolwork and how long it would take to complete. I've created some expressions that I often use now. One is, that's a tomorrow morning problem. I would say this if I had anything due the next day. Most people would maybe complete the assignment ahead of time, but that wasn't really my style. Doing the assignment the night before wasn't even enough procrastination for me. It was most likely happening the morning of, but I was feeling crazy. It could be the class before because I knew I could still get it done. My friends and teachers became accustomed to this mentality. Sometimes they would ask me how the assignment was coming or if I had any questions, and then there would be a pause. The conversation would then go like, "You haven't started it yet, have you?" I would answer, "Yeah, I haven't even read the instructions. That's a tomorrow morning problem." My schedule had senior privilege in the morning, so it made this routine a little bit easier. Next year, everyone might have senior privilege every other day. Congrats. This mentality didn't fully switch over until junior year. Freshman and sophomore years, I was very on top of my work and wouldn't dream of doing it the morning it was due. My version of time management probably shouldn't be something you're proud of, but I kind of am, because I always managed to pull it off. I've compared the experiences of some classes I took sophomore year to the second level classes I took with the same teacher junior and senior years. Sophomore year, I took Honors Bio and AP Physics 1. These classes I took seriously, and I was very interested in what we were learning. I thought the only purpose of school in these classes was to learn. I was automatically fond of them because of the topics, but when I took the second level course, it was even more enjoyable. I loved them so much more because this is when the switch flipped. Junior year is when I started to loosen up. It was also the year I was taking AP Physics 2. Our class only had 8 people in it, so it was very casual and open for conversation. I also learned another phrase that year. It's fine. Mrs. Kudish and Mr. Neely taught us this one. It's very universal, and you can practically use it in any scenario. This was definitely a big turning point for me. Senior year came along, and I was taking AP Bio. I would consider myself a different student than I was 2 years ago because I was finally having fun in the classroom. I truly enjoyed both of these second-level classes because it was always open for discussion, and I could ask my far-fetched questions that were barely related to the topic. I fell in love with learning again. I didn't see it as something I had to do. I saw it as something I adored and took pride in doing again. Thank you to Andy and Karen for having such a big impact on my life and future, even though I almost got kidnapped under your custody. Senior year was a lot of fun with my new mentality. I enjoyed it so much more. I was able to relax a little bit because I was very diligent in my prior years of high school, and I knew I could still achieve my goals. This is where my next phrase comes in. We were in AP Lit and just talking about how senior year was different. And I said, school's a social event for me. All of us at the table had Miss Harvey for 3 years. Her class was also pretty casual, and we could talk about almost anything. The only reason I can say this is because I worked so hard in my prior years of schooling. I know my freshman self would have never said that. She'd be shocked. I think school being a social event was a great thing for me. I didn't dwell on grades as much while in school, rather I focused more at home. I enjoyed every second of school and talking to everyone from teammates to friends to people I barely knew to teachers and staff. I don't want to seem like senior year was a cakewalk for me. I've mentally matured with how I deal with stress, and I continue to work hard behind the scenes to keep my aspirations in mind. I don't think I would change a thing about my high school experience, although I've definitely missed out on some things most high schoolers do because I was so focused on my goals. For example, I've never been to a homecoming bonfire. Not once. I know. Loser. In middle school, I didn't want to stay out late and be tired for school the next day. In high school, we had a volleyball game almost every year. Thanks, Kenny. And then I would have homework to do. I knew homecoming weekend would be very busy. I only had Sunday to worry about school. I did still prioritize my grades and schoolwork. Like my dad has always said, once you fall behind, it's very hard to catch up. I've always had the dream of being successful. Sometimes you need to sacrifice and do what needs to be done rather than do what everyone else is doing. Marie Curie stated, "I was taught the way of progress is neither swift nor easy." Marie was a physicist and chemist who received 2 Nobel Prizes. She was the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize and the first person to receive 2. Marie was a predecessor for all women in predominantly male fields. She demonstrated that anything is possible. There's not a simple route to reach your goals. It's often very difficult to achieve your ambitions. Success isn't something you can just stumble upon. Success is a mind game. If you want it, you can achieve it. And yes, I did misspell success every time I typed it while writing this. So yeah, it wasn't all fun to get where I am today. Sometimes I wish I worked harder. Sometimes I wish I loosened up earlier in life. Maybe if I did this, I wouldn't have developed a chronic eye twitch this year from a lack of sleep and stress. However, I don't think slacking off earlier would have been a great idea. All that stress and need for perfection that came along with the dedication and determination formed the person I am today. If there's anyone who has big dreams, learn from me and know that you're capable of achieving your goals when you put the work in. Always believe in yourself, and you can achieve anything you put your mind to. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce our phenomenal keynote speaker, Miss Ellen Harvey.
Good evening, Tunkhannock Area High School class of 2020. I am privileged to be afforded the opportunity to speak to you on this important occasion in your lives. I have to admit, when your class officers asked me to speak, I was hesitant. Questions and doubts raced through my mind. What if I disappoint them? What words of wisdom can I possibly have to offer to these fine young women and men? I panicked. I actually wondered if I should back out. Granted, I have a lot of life experience, more years than I actually want to count. And yes, I've lived through some good and I've lived through some bad times. But was I worthy of this honor? Once I was able to wrap my head around the fact that I could do this, the true work began. I researched, I read, I watched what were considered some of the best graduation speeches, but nothing clicked for me. The words of wisdom seemed trite. Your class deserves so much more than canned cliches. And then it struck me. Cliches are trite. They are exasperating because they ring hollow. But they are overused because the ideas conveyed through them are inspirational. Although we are all living different lives, celebrating our own successes, surviving our own hardships, we share the commonality of being human. Those words that appear cliched today offer us the same wisdom as when they were first penned. Cliches survive because they offer us insight on how to live a successful life. If you stopped me right now and said, "Okay, Miss Harvey, okay, Ellen, what does it mean to live a successful life?" I think I could sum it up in 3 cliches. Money doesn't buy happiness. As George Lorimer states, it's good to have money and the things that money can buy, but it's good too to check up once in a while and make sure that you haven't lost the things that money can't buy. Having lived a life where at times money, or lack thereof, impacted my day-to-day life, I can attest that money is a necessity. However, whether I was living through times of prosperity or times of hardship, I have always considered myself to be rich. Rich in a loving family, rich in loyal friends, rich in an inspiring career. As you move through life, don't let monetary wealth be your guide to happiness. Be true to yourself. As Henry David Thoreau so eloquently stated, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. As you progress through life, you will meet people who espouse your beliefs and attitudes, and you will meet people with whom you are at odds. These interactions, both negative and positive, are how we grow. These interactions are what allow you to not only become the person you are meant to be, but they also enable you to reaffirm your faith in yourself and your values. We were not put on this earth to all follow the same prescribed path or to champion the same thought processes. You are your own person, and don't ever let anybody try to convince you otherwise. Finally, life isn't always easy. Sadly, several of you are familiar with this adage because you have lived through some tough times. Does this acknowledge make it any easier? No. Do life's bumps in the road reward us, offer us anything of value, create positive outcomes? When we are in the thick of it, it would seem not. But when we come out on the other side and reflect, I think they do. Many of you who have had me in class or who know me well have heard me mention my rose-colored glasses and my perfect world. My own children can attest to the fact that Mom always says things happen for a reason. I like to believe that, as Ralph Waldo Emerson says, when it is dark enough, you can see the stars. The moments of darkness that invade all of our lives at some point allow us the privilege to see the stars, to see the good, to see the possibilities. Never look away from the dark. Instead, look through the dark and see what you can find. As I stand before you offering these few words of cliched wisdom, I hope you feel I haven't wasted your time. I hope I have not disappointed. My hope is that you will each walk away from this ceremony with a sense of pride, a sense of self, a sense of accomplishment. I usually don't try to speak for others, but at this moment I can say we are all so proud of each and every one of you. We are proud of the adults you have become before our very eyes. We are proud to have played a small role in your lives. We know you each have something unique to offer to this world. Remember that Tunkhannock Area High School will always be a part of your home, and we will always be a part of your family. Congratulations, class of 2020. Go take on the world. The world had better be ready. It is now my pleasure to introduce Superintendent of Schools, Heather McPherson.
Good evening, class of 2020. I am so pleased and excited that we're able to be here tonight to celebrate your accomplishments. There is no one in this stadium that would have ever wished for this peculiar and unsettling end of the school year. But if there's an upside to it, it might be this. 39 years ago, on a night like this in June, I graduated from high school. And I remember feeling like it was a milestone, like it was an important night. But frankly, that's pretty much all I remember about it. Nobody is going to forget this graduation. You guys are going to have way, way more memories than most of us had. 2020 is a metaphor for perfect vision. Ironic, then, for the class of 2020 to culminate their senior year so differently than what you had envisioned. About 2 weeks into the closure, I had a major change in perspective. And I asked my admin team, I asked this board, and more importantly, your teachers to pivot. In music, in dance, and in sports, a pivot refers to a change in direction, hence the compasses that I gave you. In the case of TASD, the pivot that I experienced and your administrators and your teachers executed was not a physical change in direction, but a mental one. I asked them to change their mindset. I asked them to pivot into the challenge of educating and supporting you over the course of these last several weeks. And I could not be more proud of the job that they did. Viktor Frankl said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That is the pivot point, an opportunity for us to change our thinking, change our approach, change our mindsets. In the case of the TASD team, we embraced a different way of teaching students while never losing sight of our vision as educators. Challenges are opportunities. We just have to be brave enough and mentally agile enough to pivot, to change direction. Whatever you envision, class of 2020, there will be points in your life where it will be necessary to pivot. It may be from a job, it may be from a relationship, or it may be that you have the chance to pivot into something wonderful that will expand your thinking and your beliefs. Michelle Norris, the first African American female host for National Public Radio, said this: "Write your future in pencil. Be prepared, plan for your future, but also be ready to pivot if a new opportunity comes your way or if you discover something that was not part of your master plan. But that something makes your heart sing and your mind buzz with possibilities." Class of 2020, your 2020 vision is critically needed in this world right now. Now more than ever, it is important to assert your vision and set a course for success. That may mean pivoting, deviating from the plan. But with every change in direction comes opportunity, and now you all have a compass. Congratulations, graduates. Congratulations, parents. You have much to be proud of. It is my tradition now to ask the parents and family members and our guests to stand. If you could please do that. And I just have a few words that I think we can agree on and send these folks off with. Greet the future with anticipation. Rearrange the cupboard. Dream big. Work hard. Remember your roots, your manners, and your way home. We challenge you to improve this world, to grow and evolve as adults, and as the need arises or the spirit moves you, pivot on this obstacle course we call life. Graduates, Mother Teresa said, "Life is a challenge, meet it." I do not know of any class more prepared to do just that. Thank you.
Mr. Farr, Tunkhannock Area School Board President, we have 53 young men and women here prepared to graduate this morning. By the authority vested in me by the Superintendent of Schools, as granted by our local school board directors, I, Todd Bosher, Tunkhannock Area High School Principal, will certify the students before you have completed all the requirements set forth by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, along with all adopted and approved curriculum of the Tunkhannock Area School District. At this time, I present each student by name to receive their diploma. Brandon John Belcher. Colin Charles Bowes. Sophie Lou Burke. Joseph Thomas Casey. Isaac Douglas Clark. Elizabeth LaFleur DeMarco. Charisma Jean Fell. Ronnie Kamari Shrivastava. Benjamin Hunter Clark. Ethan Clyde Crawford. Joel Mack Davenport. Drew Daniel Demalio. Madison Sarah Driscoll. Cody Michael Ely. David Michael Evans. Jacob Michael Eveland. Jacob Anthony Frisco. Michaela Alexis Fritch. Olivia Valen Greenlee. Alyssa Ann Hettesheimer. Antonio Ryan Hudak. Bryden Carl Huff. Alexis Destiny Hutchins. Logan Jeffrey Hutchins. Amanda Marie Kaufman. Rachel Anna Kenya. Caden Kyle King. Kiara Marie Kinney. Matthew William Lee. Sabine Jane Moran. Matthew James Maroney. Ethan Michael Munley. Hugh Gene Murphy. Hannah Lee Sayre Nichols. Kinsey Marie Petkavage. Michael Paul Perbola. Ariana Mackenzie Rymiller. Jaron Douglas Robinson. Colby Cyrus Sands. Cassidy Lynn Schertz. Brett Adam Sickler. Hunter Chance Jonathan Snay. Austin David Taylor.
Which side do I pick up?
Doesn't matter either one.
Oh, really?
Harry Lee Thrash. Victoria Elizabeth Van Arstelen. Ariel May Vicara. Sarah Elizabeth Wickheiser. Sydney Rayanne Williams. At this time, I would like to call the names of those students who are not able to be with us today. Danielle Marie Cooter. Chelsea Lynn Jones. Dakota Kempka. Alex Jordan McCarty. Alexander James Yedlowski. James David Zaleski. Brandon Jesse Parrish III. Wyatt Andrew Nonamaker. William Robert Barth Jr. Brandon Stephen Sherrick. Tyler Chase Chesla. Haley Alexis Hirsch. I'd like to recognize our two exchange students, Alejandra Vizano Ruiz, Yana Lada Veklova, and in loving memory, our own Anna Sarah Van Auken. Graduates, I invite you to stand. Move your tassel from the right side to the left to symbolize the completion of your journey here at Tunkhannock Area School District. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce you, the graduates of the class of 2020. Mr. Farr, Tunkhannock Area School Board President, we have 55 young men and women here this afternoon prepared to graduate. By the authority vested in me by the Superintendent of Schools, as granted by our local school board directors, I, Todd Bosher, Tunkhannock Area High School Principal, will certify the students before you have completed all the requirements set forth by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, along with all adopted and approved curriculum of the Tunkhannock Area School District. At this time, I present each student by name to receive their diploma. David Thomas Baltrasitis. Sydney Elizabeth Barbini. Kieran Coyle Bedford. Adam Kenneth Biro. Haley Marie Buckley. Nicholas Sean Budner. Riley Paige Cummings. Donovan Michael Curley. Jackson Tobias Montross. Alex Matthew Daly. Gavin Lennon Richard D'Amato. Christina Gail DiCrescenza. William Murray Ziak. Isaac Matthew Flores. Madeline Mary Franco. Jacoby Allen Gilpin. Mary Catherine Grow. Jacob Garrett Hawley. Maxine Ray Heft. That's fine. Casey Jane Hubbs. Logan Christian Jennings. Ava Mary Kidd Jr. Joseph A. Kildare. Stanley Michael Lepisco. Sabrina Noel Lombardo. Nicholas William Matthews. Hannah Grace McLean. Madison Lynn Nestor. Jamie Lee Okolto. Jared James O'Neill. Jeremy James Peck. Alexander Robert Pierce. Lane Gregory Repsher. Max Satterfield Romano. Larissa Nicole Romanuski. Gabrielle Denise Rosenthal. Jarrett Matthew Schoonover. Samantha Shigelski. Alexander James Smith. Jordan Paige Smith. Kaylin Emma Smith. Kayla Rose Gladys Sneed. Cheyenne Mackenzie Talbert. Catherine Elizabeth Taylor. Christine Regina Erpak. Peter Joseph Erpak. Gina Lynn Walsh. Alec Tyler Walter. Cassidy Lee Warman. Austin Lyle Woollett. Dalton Caleb Eust. John Charles Transu. Wyatt Andrew Nonamaker. I would like to recognize two students who were not able to join us this afternoon. Cameron Richard Ebert. Cody William Rondinella. Graduates, I invite you to stand. You may move your tassel from the right side to the left side to symbolize the completion of your journey here at Tunkhannock Area School District. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the graduates of the class of 2020. Mr. Farr, Tunkhannock Area School Board President. We have 58 young men and women prepared to graduate this evening. By the authority vested in me by the Superintendent of Schools, as granted by our local school board directors, I, Todd Bosher, Tunkhannock Area High School Principal, will certify that the students before you have completed all the requirements set forth by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, along with all adopted and approved curriculum of the Tunkhannock Area School District. At this time, I present each student by name to receive their diploma. Michael Christopher Astiger. Caitlin Elizabeth Ballett. Riley Ann Bartron. David Joseph Berry. Paul Allen Binner, Jr. Noah Allen Birdsell. Ryan Howard Boyd. Devin Samuel Clark. Thomas Norbert Elias. Ireland Marie Clark. Kelly Marie Cook. Ryan Destiny Coppersmith. Breezy Jean Corker. Caleb Arthur Cornell. Emily Elizabeth Dupree. Emma Dawn Douthit. Correa Ann Feigl. Bridget Taylor Frame. Kayla Ann Gavick. Curtis Ryan Gay. Cheyenne Elizabeth Gensel. Dennis Patrick Gilson. Sean Michael Glosh II. Wayne Lee Gotze. Michael J. Green. Ashley Ann Griffin. Natalia Brooke Healy. Hannah Nicole Hughes. Hayden Blaze Ivy. Robert Joseph Jenkins. Logan Diane Kandrovi. Brad Dale Keeler. Jacob Richard Keeler. Mackay Randy Labar. Nia Marie Loshafer. Rachel Lucille Martin. Devin James Mikulka. Robert Andrew Miroslaw. Emily May Nichols. Caitlin Elizabeth Pasternak. Evan John Sackman. Troy Ronald Simmons. Carly Paige Smith. Emily Stansky. Madison Mia Marie Tremmel. Trajan William Turner. Andrew Lee Weaver. Cody Richard White. Tyra K. Lee Wood. Courtney Lynn Uhas. Hannah Lynn Zaleski. Michaela Louise Quick. Roger Charles Walters. Kyle Samuel Keithline Schaefer. Kyle Axel Stackhouse.
My nephew, I'll beat him up later.
I would like to recognize one student who was not able to be with us this evening, Carter David Shoup. Graduates, I invite you to stand. I invite you to move your tassel from the right side to the left side to symbolize the completion of your journey here at Tunkhannock Area School District. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the graduates of the class of 2020.